My First Bible presents the story of King Saul. It's been a long time, and Samuel was now old. He had two sons. The eldest son, his name was Joel, and the second, Abijah. Samuel made them judges of Israel, but neither of them followed his father's example, but that both were carried away by greed and accepted bribes. When cases arose that needed to be resolved, people told them, "Hey, well, look, I know my friend is guilty, but I'm going to give you a little present. I'll give you this if you say he's innocent, that there's not enough evidence to convict him, and that they should let him go as if nothing happened. What do they say?" And they let themselves be convinced. They accepted the bribe, preventing justice. That's why the elders and leaders of Israel, they were upset, and they gathered in Ramah where Samuel lived to talk to him. And they said to him, "Look, Samuel, you have already grown old, and your children do not follow your example. They do what they want, and they are not good judges, and you know it. That's why we came to tell you that we want a king to rule us." "How so? What do you want, a king?" asked Samuel.
"Yeah, we want a king, as well as other nations."
"But why do they want a king if we have the King of Kings? We have our God."
"No, we want a king." When they told him this, Samuel was upset, and he began to pray to the Lord. But the Lord said to him,
"Samuel, give them what they ask for. They are not rejecting you, but they are rejecting me again. They do not want me to reign over them, despite everything I've done for their love since I brought them out of Egypt until today. They continue to abandon me to serve other gods. So pay attention to them, but warn them clearly how a king will treat them."
So Samuel returned to where the people were and said to them,
"Do you know what having a king entails? If you have a king, its best properties, vineyards, and fields will be for him. Your children will have to join the army, and your daughters will also be taken away from you to work in the palace. Besides, you will have to give a percentage of your crops and profits to give them to officials and ministers. This thing about having a king is no small thing. You are going to lose much more."
However, the people did not listen to Samuel, and they answered him,
No. We already told you that we want a king to rule us. So we will be like the other nations with a king who represents us, and let him march before us when we go to war."
I warned you, when that day comes, you will cry out to the Lord because of the king you chose, but the Lord will not answer you.
Nah.
After listening to what the people wanted, Samuel sent them back to their homes.
Go home, return to your villages.
From that moment on, Samuel set out to find a king for Israel, until one day, Jehovah revealed to Samuel who will be the king of Israel and what he should do when he saw him. There was a young man from the tribe of Benjamin, from a highly respected family, who was the son of Kish. Sis, he was the son of Abiel. Abiel, son of Zeror. Zeror, son of Bechorat. Bechorat, son of Aphiah. Aphiah, son of a Benjamite. Sis had a son called Saul, a tall, good-looking, and handsome young man like no other Israelite. One day, the donkeys of his father Sis were lost, and Sis, he asked Saul to go with his servant to look for them. So they set off. Saul and the servant, they visited many places, to the mountains, regions, and cities, but they didn't find them. When they came to a territory called Zuph, Saul said to his servant, "You know what? We better go. Let's go back home, lest my father begin to worry more about us than the donkeys." Wait, answered the servant. In this town lives a man of God, a prophet who is very good. Everything he says comes true. Why don't we go see it? Maybe he'll tell us where to find the donkeys. But if we go, what can we offer him? Saul asked. We have nothing left to eat, nor do we have a gift to offer him. Oh, no. Look, here I have a 4 shekel of silver. We can give him this to show us the way. Okay, let's go. That being said, they went to the town where the prophet was. On the way, they found some young girls who were going to draw water from a well. And they asked them, "Excuse me, is the prophet in this city?"
Yeah, it's further ahead.
They answered.
Just arrived in town, and the people are waiting for him to offer a sacrifice at the high place. You must hurry if you want to find him. Go, go!
Saul and his servant headed quickly towards the city. They were coming in when Samuel met them. The moment Samuel saw Saul, the Lord said to him,
There you have the man I told you about.
Arriving at the city gate, Saul approached Samuel and asked, "Excuse me, do you know where the prophet is? Where can we find it?"
I am the prophet,
Samuel replied. "Perfect! Look,
Calm down,
Samuel interrupted.
Come with me, that today you will eat with me. Tomorrow, when you can leave, I will answer all your concerns.
But
Come. As for the donkeys that went missing 3 days ago, don't worry anymore, that they have already found them.
They were both amazed.
I told you he was good.
But how does he know about the donkeys?
Well, he is a prophet.
Then Samuel said to Saul,
What Israel longs for most, it has to do with you and your family.
Why are you telling me that? Asked Saul. If I am from the tribe of Benjamin, which is the smallest in Israel, and my family is the least of the tribe of Benjamin. So Samuel took Saul and his servant into a hall and gave them a special place among the guests. There were about 30 of them. Then Samuel told the cook to bring the portion of meat that he himself brought him to serve it to Saul. There they ate together. Later, Samuel talked with Saul on the roof of his house. The next day, Samuel accompanied them to the outskirts of the city. So Samuel said to Saul,
Tell your servant to go ahead, but you, stay a moment. I have a message from God for you.
The servant stepped forward, and Samuel took a flask of oil and poured it on Saul's head. Then he kissed him and said to him,
The Lord is the one who has chosen you to govern his people. You will be the one to lead the Israelites. You are the anointed king of the Lord. Today itself, so you can see that this is true, I'll give you some signs. The first sign, it is while you are on the way near Rachel's grave, you will see 2 men. They will tell you that they have already found the donkeys they were looking for, but your father now is more concerned about you. Later on, when you reach the great tree of Tabor, you will meet 3 men who are heading to Bethel to worship God. One of them is carrying 3 goats, the other loaves, and the other a wineskin. After greeting you, they will give you 2 loaves of bread, and you will take it. After that, you will reach the hill of God. Entering the city, you will meet a group of prophets, and behind them, there will be men playing tambourines, flutes, lyres, and harps. But you will join the prophets, and you will prophesy with them, and you will be a new person. After these signs, you will do what seems right to you, because God is with you. Then we will meet at Gilgal. We will gather to offer a burnt offering to the Lord. You will wait for me for 7 days, and when I arrive, I'll tell you what you have to do.
And so, when Saul turned to walk away from Samuel, God changed his heart. And that same day were fulfilled exactly all those signs that Samuel told him. After all this, Samuel summoned all the people of Israel in Mizpah to reveal who would be the king. Samuel had all the tribes come closer, and they cast lots. Among all the tribes, the tribe of Benjamin was chosen. Then luck fell on the family of Cis. And finally, the lot fell on Saul, who will be the new king of Israel.
And who is Saul?
No clue.
Has that man come here? They wondered. Everyone was looking for Saul, but they couldn't find him. So the Lord told Samuel where he was. And Samuel said to the Israelites,
Saul is here. He has hidden himself among the luggage.
So they were running and they took him out of there. And when Saul stood in the midst of the people, they saw that he was so tall and handsome. People exclaimed, "Look to the man whom God has chosen! There's no one like him in this town."
Long live the king!
And this will be our king?
And so Saul became the first king that Israel had. Sometime later, Nahas, the king of the Ammonites, he camped with his army in front of Jabesh Gilead, a city in Israel, ready to declare war on them, taking with him all his armies and weapons. The peoples of Jabesh, seeing this, were terrified. They went to the king and said,
Please, let's make an alliance. Make a covenant with us, and we will be your servants.
Alliance? I like the idea.
Nahash the Ammonite answered.
Well, I will be friendly to you. I will accept the alliance, but only on one condition.
What is the condition?
Let each of its peoples take out their right eye. Only then will I make an alliance. Thus I will bring disgrace upon all Israel, and it will serve as a shame.
When the people of Jabesh heard this, they replied,
Hey, give us 7 days so that we can send messengers throughout Israel. If there is no one to defend us from you, then we will surrender.
7 days.
When the messengers arrived at Gibeah, which was the city of Saul, they told him this terrible news, and all the people began to cry. Just then, Saul was returning from the field, driving his oxen. Seeing the people crying, he asked,
What's going on? Why are they crying?
Then they told him what had happened in Jabesh. Upon hearing the news, the Spirit of God came upon Saul with power. Enraged, he grabbed 2 of his oxen, he dismembered them, and with messengers he sent the pieces throughout the territory of Israel with this warning.
This is what will be done with the oxen of everyone who...
Do not go out to join Saul and Samuel. That's what he said. And so, the fear of the Lord came upon the people, and all of them, as one man, they united and went out to war. 300,000 soldiers were gathered from Israel, and 30,000 from Judah. Saul gathered them together at Bezek, and there he said to the messengers,
Go and tell the people of Jabesh that tomorrow, the hottest it is, will be freed from the Ammonites.
The messengers went and carried the message to the people of Jabesh, and they were all filled with joy. Then they went to the king of the Ammonites and said to him,
Tomorrow we will surrender, and you can do with us whatever you want.
This was part of a strategy to make the Ammonites lower their guard against the Israelites. The next day, before dawn, Saul organized his soldiers into 3 squads
Blah, blah, blah.
and attacked the Ammonite camp by surprise, causing great carnage until the hottest time of the day. The few Ammonites that survived, they fled in all directions, and not even 2 men were left together.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
So, Israel won a great victory. Then the people gathered to Samuel. Everyone was so happy and told him, "Let's see, Samuel, tell us, where are those who did not want Saul as king?"
Hand them over to us, and we will kill him.
And this will be our king?
No, today no one will die,
Saul intervened.
Today no one will be put to death on this day that the Lord has redeemed Israel.
Then Samuel said to them,
I want all the people of Israel gathered together in Gilgal, so that there we may crown our king Saul.
Blah, blah, blah.
and so they all headed to Gilgal. While there, the people gathered before the Lord. They officially named Saul king. There too, they offered sacrifices, and they celebrated the occasion with great joy. After all this, Samuel addressed the people and said,
Pay attention! I have listened to everything you have asked me for, and I have given you a king to rule over them. You already have your king. As for me, I'm already old and full of gray hair, and my children are already part of you. I have served you from a very young age until today, and I want you to tell me if I have taken something that does not belong to me. Have I stolen something from you? Have I benefited from the service I rendered to God?
No, you have not let us down.
they replied.
You have not oppressed us nor robbed anyone of anything. May the Lord and his king be witnesses today that you have not found me guilty of anything.
Amen,
That's how it is.
they answered.
I want you to remember that when Jacob and his descendants cried out in Egypt, God sent Moses and Aaron to free them and bring them to this land. But later you forgot God, and he delivered them into the power of Sisera, commander of Hazor, also of the Philistines, of the king of Moab, and others. All of them oppressed you, until you cried out and acknowledged your sin of idol worship. So the Lord, he sent liberators like Jerubbaal, Barak, Jephthah, even me, Samuel, and you were freed from his enemies so that you could live safely. But still, when Nahash, king of the Ammonites, threatened them, they insisted on having a king, even though the Lord was already your king. Well, here is the king you asked for, but keep in mind that it was Jehovah who gave them to you. If you and your king obey Jehovah and serve him thankfully, excellent, everything will be fine. But if you disobey, he will punish you as he did your ancestors. And now, pay attention to me and see with your own eyes something great that the Lord is going to do. Now is not the time for rain, but rather wheat harvesting. However, I will cry out to the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain. This way you will recognize the seriousness of having asked for a king.
Samuel called upon Jehovah, and that same day the Lord sent thunder and rain. All the people felt great fear before the Lord and before Samuel. And they said to him, Pray to Jehovah for us, Samuel. We have sinned by asking for a king.
Do not be afraid. Even though you made a big mistake, do not depart from the Lord. Serve him with all your heart, and do not worship useless idols that you cannot help or rescue them. The Lord will not abandon you, for he has chosen you as his people. I will continue praying for you and teaching you the good way, and always remember the great blessings that God has given you. But if you persist in evil, both you and your king will be destroyed.
With these words, Samuel encouraged the people to remain faithful to the Lord, their one and only true king. When Saul had been reigning over Israel for 2 years, he selected an army of 3,000 Israelite soldiers. 2,000 were with him in Michmash and in the hill country of Bethel. And the other 1,000 were in Gibeah of Benjamin with the prince, Jonathan, Saul's son. Jonathan, along with the 1,000 men, attacked a Philistine military outpost. When the Philistines heard about this, they declared war on Israel. King Saul ordered the trumpet to be blown throughout the land so that everyone would know they were at war.
Saul has attacked the Philistines. Now the Israelites have become odious to them, and war has been declared.
Oh no.
Therefore, the people put themselves under Saul's command in Gilgal. Meanwhile, the Philistines gathered to fight against Israel. They had 3,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and an army as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They advanced to Michmash and camped there. Moreover, none of the Israelite soldiers had a sword or a spear, except for King Saul and his son, Jonathan. This was because in the territory of Israel, there was not a single blacksmith. You see, in those times, the Philistines were the experts in making iron weapons. If an Israelite wanted to forge or sharpen any tool, he had to go to the Philistine territory and pay them for the service. But once war was declared, it was forbidden to forge swords and spears for the Hebrews. And if they did, they charged a very high price. Imagine, not only were the Israelites unarmed, but they also depended on their enemies for weapons. What a difficult situation.
Yes, right.
The Israelites. And the worst part is that, long ago, Israelites had joined the Philistine army to attack their own people. Yes. Well, thank you very much for explaining. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, you can leave now.
Oh yes, of course.
Finding themselves in this situation, the Israelites trembled with fear, aware that they were in serious trouble.
Therefore, many hid in caves, bushes, among rocks, ditches, and wells. Some even crossed the Jordan to flee to the land of Gilead. Meanwhile, Saul remained in Gilgal, just as he had agreed with the prophet Samuel. Samuel had instructed him to wait there for 7 days so that he could offer a sacrifice and seek the Lord's blessing. However, when he saw that Samuel was not arriving, the soldiers began to scatter, and Saul desperately asked,
Has anyone seen the prophet Samuel? Has Samuel arrived yet? Where is Samuel?
Due to desperation, more and more soldiers were leaving. Faced with this situation, Saul, impatient, decided to offer the sacrifice himself.
All right, bring me everything needed for the burnt offering. I will offer it myself.
And so they did. At the moment Saul finished making the sacrifice, Samuel arrived, and he asked,
What have you done?
Saul replied,
Since you didn't arrive as we had agreed, well, I had to perform the sacrifice myself. I had to do it myself. Look how the people are leaving because they are afraid. What did you expect me to do, Samuel? If the Philistines come to attack us, we would be doomed, and we haven't even sought the Lord's favor.
You have acted foolishly,
Samuel replied.
Because you did not obey the command the Lord gave you, your kingdom will not endure. Your son will no longer be the next king, nor will the son of your son. Now the Lord will seek a man after his own heart and will appoint him as ruler over his people, because you have not obeyed his word.
Having said this, Samuel left, while Saul remained with his son Jonathan and the small army he had left. He ordered a count of the soldiers and discovered that only 600 men remained. Meanwhile, the Philistine army divided into 3 squads, and each group marched toward different lands to attack the Israelites. One day, Prince Jonathan said to his armor-bearer,
Come with me. Let's cross to the other side, where the Philistine outpost is.
Without telling King Saul anything, they set off. As they approached, they realized that to reach the Philistine outpost, they would have to climb a cliff. Then Jonathan said to his armor-bearer,
Let's cross over to the outpost of those uncircumcised men. Perhaps the Lord will act on our behalf, for nothing is difficult for him, whether with many or with few.
Go ahead, his armor-bearer replied. Do all that you have planned to do, for you have my full support.
And so they began to climb the cliff, which was very steep. As they climbed, Jonathan turned to his armor-bearer and said,
Listen, we will go up where the Philistines are so they can see us. If they say, wait there and we will come to you, we will stay and not go up to them. But if they tell us to come up to them, we will advance, for that will be the sign that the Lord will give us victory.
Agreed.
Then the two continued climbing, and they allowed themselves to be seen by the Philistines.
Blah, 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 blah.
When they saw them,
Huh? Hey, look! There are Hebrews over there!
the Philistines exclaimed. It looks like they're coming out of their caves.
Come over here. Come over here. We have something to show you.
Jonathan and his armor-bearer looked at each other, knowing that this was the sign that the Lord would give them victory. As they climbed up, Jonathan drew his sword and began attacking the Philistines, while his armor-bearer finished them off. At that moment, panic spread through the Philistine camp. The army in the field was overcome with fear, and without knowing what was happening, they began attacking each other. Even the ground shook from the extraordinary panic. The Israelites who had previously joined the Philistines switched sides. They returned to the side of King Saul and Jonathan and joined the attack against the Philistines. From King Saul's camp, the sentries observed what was happening and informed the king.
King Saul, something is happening with the Philistines.
Saul immediately ordered,
Let's take a roll call. We will see who among us is missing.
and so they did. And they realized that Jonathan and his armor-bearer were missing. Then Saul asked for the priest to be brought.
Bring the priest!
The priest at that time was Ahijah, who was the nephew of Ichabod, the son of Phinehas, and grandson of Eli. When Ahijah approached, Saul said to him,
Bring the Ark of the Covenant!
Immediately, Saul changed his mind.
Well, no, better not bring it. Instead, we will go to war against them. And listen well.
Saul made an oath.
Woe to anyone who eats anything before nightfall. No one will eat anything until the Philistines have been delivered into my hands.
Thus, that day, none of the soldiers had eaten anything while they pursued the Philistines. Even the Israelites who had been hiding joined the battle to fight them. In this way, the Lord delivered Israel that day. After the battle, the entire army entered a forest, and there they noticed that honey was flowing like water. But out of fear of Saul's oath, no one dared to taste it. However, Jonathan, who had not heard his father's oath, took a stick,
dipped it into a honeycomb, and ate it. Immediately, his face lit up. But one of the soldiers warned him.
What are you doing, Jonathan? We are not allowed to eat anything. Your father made an oath that any man who eats today will die.
Oh, what my father has done is very wrong, Jonathan said. Look how I regained my energy just by tasting a little of this honey. What's more, if the entire army had eaten from the spoils we took from the enemy, the damage against the Philistines would have been much greater. That day, when the Israelites were pursuing the Philistines, they were exhausted. Desperate from hunger, they took animals from the spoils, sheep, cows, and calves. They slaughtered them right there and ate the meat with the blood, something that was forbidden by God's law.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah?
And they told Saul,
Blah, 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 blah.
The soldiers are sinning against the Lord. They are eating meat along with the blood. They are being reckless,
Saul replied.
Bring me a large stone and tell the people to bring their animals so they can be properly slaughtered so they do not sin against the Lord by eating meat with blood.
That night, each soldier brought his cow and slaughtered them there. After this, Saul built an altar and proposed continuing the attack on the Philistines throughout the night.
Let's go after them and leave no one alive before dawn.
We must consult God first, the priest intervened.
Blah, 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 blah.
Then Saul asked God,
Should we pursue the Philistines who remain alive? Will you deliver them into our hands?
But God did not answer.
There is sin in the camp. All of you, leaders of the army, come forward and determine what sin has been committed today. As surely as the Lord lives, I assure you that even if the guilty one is my son Jonathan, he will die without mercy.
No one dared to say anything. Then Saul ordered the people to be separated, the soldiers on one side, and he and Jonathan on the other. Then they cast lots, and the lot fell between Saul and Jonathan, while the rest were declared innocent. Saul, surprised, said,
Huh? Cast lots between Jonathan and me.
And the lot fell on Jonathan. And Saul said to him,
What have you done?
Father, it's just that I didn't know you had ordered not to eat. It's true, in the forest, I tasted honey with the tip of a stick. It made me feel better because I was exhausted from the battle. Do I have to die for this?
Yes, may God punish me if you do not die, Jonathan!
Saul exclaimed. However, the soldiers intervened.
Jonathan cannot die! He has given us this great victory with God's help. As surely as the Lord lives, not a single hair from his head shall fall to the ground.
The soldiers united to intercede for Jonathan. And finally, they saved him from death. After this, Saul stopped pursuing the Philistines, who returned to their land. From that time on, Saul fought against all the enemies that surrounded him: Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Amalekites, the kings of Zobah, and Philistines. And all of them he defeated with the help of the Lord. One day, Samuel went to Saul and said, "The Lord sent me to anoint you as king over his people and has entrusted me with a very important message for you. The Lord says that he has decided to punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel by not allowing them to pass when they came out of Egypt. Therefore, go and attack the Amalekites right now. Destroy them completely. Do not let anyone live, not even their animals."
Oh, the Amalekites! I will do everything the Lord has told me.
I hope so. Saul gathered his army in Telaim, and when he counted them, he realized he had 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 soldiers from Judah. Then he marched to the city of Amalek. But before attacking, he called together the Kenites, a people who lived among the Amalekites, and said to them,
Leave this place! Go away and stay far from the Amalekites! I don't want you to be destroyed along with them, because you were kind to the Israelites when they came out of Egypt.
When the Kenites heard this, they quickly left the Amalekites' land and found safety. Then they ambushed the Amalekites, and the battle began. The people of Israel won the victory because God was with them. The king of Amalek, named Agag, was captured, but all the inhabitants were destroyed by the sword. However, Saul and his soldiers came up with a terrible idea. Instead of destroying everything as God commanded, they decided to spare King Agag's life and kept the best sheep, cows, and other livestock because they thought they were too valuable to destroy. They only destroyed what seemed useless or worthless. And God spoke to Samuel.
I regret making Saul king, for he has turned away from me and has not followed my commands.
Samuel was deeply troubled upon hearing this, and he spent the entire night crying out to God in prayer. At dawn, he set out to meet Saul at Gilgal. When Samuel arrived, Saul said to him,
I'm so glad you've come! Blessed be the Lord! I have followed the Lord's instructions.
Samuel looked at him seriously and asked,
What have you done, Saul?
What do you mean? I have done everything just as the Lord commanded.
Oh, really? Then why do I hear sheep bleating? And why do I hear cows mooing?
Let me explain. The troops brought them from the Amalekites,
Saul replied.
They spared the best sheep and cattle to offer them to the Lord your God. The Lord deserves the best, doesn't he? That's why we brought them here. But everything else we destroyed just as the Lord...
Enough, Saul!
Samuel interrupted.
I will tell you what the Lord told me last night.
I'm listening,
Saul replied. There was a time when you thought little of yourself, and now you have become the leader of the tribes of Israel.
Wasn't it the Lord who made you king over his people?
Wasn't it he who sent you on a mission, saying, Go and destroy those sinners, the Amalekites, attack them until they are completely wiped out? Then why didn't you obey the Lord? Why did you take the plunder and do evil in his sight?
But I did obey the Lord,
Saul insisted.
I carried out the mission he gave me. I captured the king of Amalek, but I destroyed the Amalekites. And from the plunder, it was the soldiers who took the sheep and cattle to offer them to the Lord.
Samuel replied, What pleases the Lord more, burnt offerings and sacrifices, or obeying what he commands? To obey is better than a sacrifice. Rebellion is as sinful as witchcraft, and arrogance is as evil as idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king.
Yes, I have sinned,
Saul admitted.
I have disobeyed the Lord's command. The soldiers pressured me, and I listened to them. But I beg you to forgive me and come back with me to worship the Lord. Please, do not leave me like this before the people. If you go, everyone will know that God has rejected me. Come on, Samuel, come with me and worship, so that the elders and leaders do not see my shame.
I will not return with you, Saul, Samuel replied. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and he has rejected you as king of Israel. As Samuel turned to leave, Saul grabbed the edge of his robe and tore it. Then Samuel said, "Just as my robe has been torn, so too has God taken the kingdom of Israel from your hands and given it to someone more worthy than you."
I know I have sinned, Saul responded, but I beg you to come with me to worship the Lord. Please stand by my side as I stand before the elders and leaders.
Samuel
Blah, blah, blah,
agreed
blah.
to accompany Saul
Blah, blah, blah,
before the
blah.
leaders of Israel.
Blah, 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 blah,
Later,
blah,
Samuel
blah.
said, "Bring me Agag, the king of Amalek." When they brought him, Agag approached confidently, saying,
Surely the bitterness of death has passed.
But Samuel said, "Just as your sword has left so many mothers childless, so too shall your mother be left without a son."
Huh? What do you mean?
And immediately Samuel took a sword and ended the life of King Agag.
Oh no!
After that, Samuel returned to his home in Ramah,
Blah, 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 blah.
while Saul went back to his home in Gibeah. Samuel never saw Saul again, but he mourned him because the Lord was sad for having made Saul king of Israel. Samuel anoints.
No, I am the anointed one. I am the king of Israel. Tell them, Samuel.
Yes, it's true. Saul is the king of Israel.
See, Samuel says I am his anointed one. That's no longer true, Saul. Samuel, you have rejected the word of the Lord, and that's why he has rejected you as king of Israel.
Since Saul disobeyed the Lord's command, the Spirit of God left him, and instead, an evil spirit began to torment him. Saul would fall into delusions, talk to himself, and have uncontrollable fits of rage.
Samuel, please help me. The Lord has taken your kingdom from you and given it to someone more worthy than you. Tell me who it is, Samuel. Who is he?
Samuel anoints David. The Lord spoke to Samuel and said,
How long will you mourn for Saul? I have already rejected him as king of Israel. Get up, fill your horn with oil, and go to Bethlehem, to the house of Jesse, for I have chosen one of his sons to be king.
Samuel replied,
But Lord, how can I go? If Saul finds out, he will kill me. Take with you a young cow from the herd,
said the Lord.
When you arrive in Bethlehem, say that you've come to offer a sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you must do, for you will anoint the one I tell you.
Samuel did as the Lord had commanded. When he arrived in Bethlehem, the elders of the town came to greet him with fear and asked, "We are honored by your visit, Prophet Samuel, but have you come in peace, or are we in trouble?"
Yes, I have come in peace. I've come to offer a sacrifice to the Lord. So purify yourselves and take me to Jesse and his family. I want them to be part of it.
To whom? Jesse, the son of Obed?
Yep,
The one who was grandson of Boaz and Ruth?
yes, that one.
Boaz, the son of Rahab, the woman who helped the spies? Don't you ever stop interrupting! Then, Jesse, son of Obed and descendant of the tribe of Judah, welcomed Samuel.
Prophet Samuel, what an honor to have you in my home. Jesse, the Lord has sent me to anoint one of your sons. Sanctify yourself and all your sons, because we are going to offer a sacrifice to God.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah,
Later,
blah.
when Jesse's sons came before Samuel, he looked at Eliab, the oldest son, and said,
Without a doubt, this must be the Lord's anointed one.
But God said to him,
No, Samuel, don't be impressed by his looks or his height, because I have rejected him. People judge by what they see on the outside, but I look at the heart.
Then Samuel asked Jesse to bring another of his sons. So he brought Abinadab. But Samuel said,
The Lord has not chosen this one either.
Then Jesse brought out Shammah. But Samuel repeated,
Not this one either.
Then another son.
No,
Then another.
no,
Then another.
No.
And then another.
not this one either.
Jesse brought out 7 of his sons, and none of them was the one chosen by God.
I don't understand. Jesse, are these all your sons?
Samuel asked. I have one more, the youngest one, but he's out tending the sheep.
Send for him. We won't continue until he gets here.
Immediately, Jesse sent someone to get him. The youngest son of Jesse was just a simple shepherd who spent his days in the fields caring for the sheep and playing his harp while composing poems and psalms for God. His name was David, a handsome young man with fair skin and beautiful eyes. As he hurried over, they told him his father was looking for him.
Oh, David, hurry! Our father sent for you. Come quickly!
When David arrived, Samuel saw him, and the Lord said,
Rise and anoint him. This is the one.
Samuel smiled and said,
I was expecting a great warrior. But truly, God does not see what man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but God sees the heart. David, son of Jesse, simple shepherd, you are the anointed one of God.
Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed the young man in front of his brothers. From that moment on, the Spirit of the Lord was upon David. Later on, Samuel returned to Ramah. Meanwhile, an evil spirit was tormenting Saul. His servants said to him,
King Saul,
What?
let your servants look for someone who can play the harp. So when the evil spirit torments you, the musician can play for you, and you'll feel better.
A musician?
said Saul.
Yes, that's it. A harp, soft music, something to calm this storm in my head. Find me a good musician, quickly!
Then one of the servants suggested, I know a young man who can play the harp. He is brave and skilled, he speaks well, and he's good looking. His father is Jesse from Bethlehem. So then they sent messengers to Jesse to tell him to send David to King Saul. Jesse took a donkey, some food, a wineskin, and a young goat to send as a gift to Saul through his son David.
This man is crazy!
When David arrived, he presented himself before Saul and entered his service. Every time David played his harp, the evil spirit would leave Saul. The music calmed Saul and made him feel better.
Subscribe, comment, give it a like, and follow us on social media.
The Philistine army gathered at Soko, a town in the tribe of Judah, to declare war on the Israelites. Meanwhile, Saul and the Israelites also gathered and camped in the valley of Elah, where they lined up for battle against the Philistines. With the valley in between, the Philistines stood on a hill on one side, and Israel stood on another hill opposite them. Among the Philistines, there was a famous warrior from Gath who came out of the camp. This warrior was nearly 3 meters tall. His entire heavy armor was made of bronze, and he carried a massive spear. This giant man was called Goliath. In front of him marched his shield bearer,
Hey, blah, blah, blah.
and they stopped in front of the Israelite soldiers to challenge them.
Whoa. Blah, 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 blah.
When the Israelites saw such an imposing man, they trembled with fear.
Where is your king?
Goliath challenged the Israelites.
Why have you lined up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? Choose a man to come fight me. If he is able to defeat and kill me, which I doubt, then we will become your servants. But if I am the victor and I kill him, then you will be our slaves and serve us. I defy Israel. I defy your God. Choose a man to fight me.
When they heard what the Philistines said, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and greatly afraid. "We're finished," some were saying. "He's just a man, Father."
Is he? Listen!
exclaimed Saul.
Whoever volunteers to fight him, I will give my daughter in marriage, shower him with riches, and forgive all his debts, whatever it takes. Who will volunteer?
But no one accepted.
Blah, blah. Oh, no.
Meanwhile, in Bethlehem, Jesse's 3 oldest sons had gone off to war with Saul.
Blah, blah, blah.
The firstborn was named Eliab,
Yep.
the second Abinadab, and the third Shammah. They had followed Saul because they were the eldest.
Blah, blah, blah.
David was the youngest of 8 brothers. He used to go to Saul, but would return to Bethlehem to tend to his father's sheep. Goliath came out every morning and evening to challenge the Israelites.
I'm here waiting for someone to challenge me!
Day after day, Goliath came out and shouted,
King Saul! Where is your champion? Are you all afraid? The Israelites are scared!
and the next day,
How many more days must I wait? Is there no champion of Israel? Day after day I challenge Israel! Don't you claim to be servants of your God?
and so Goliath kept challenging the Israelites for 40 days. And no one dared to face him.
Blah, 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 blah.
One day, Jesse said to his son, David,
Take this roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread, and go to the camp and give them to your brothers. Also take these cheeses to give to the commander of the army. Go and find out how your brothers are doing, and bring me some proof, something they're wearing or anything, so I'll know they're well.
David followed Jesse's instructions and left early in the morning.
Blah, blah, blah.
Just as he arrived at the Israelite camp, he heard war cries and saw the army of Israel and the Philistines lining up face to face. David, meanwhile, left his supplies with the keeper of provisions and ran toward the army to greet his brothers. While they were talking, Goliath stepped out from the ranks and once again challenged the Israelites.
You're all cowards! Not a single one dares to face me! Today, I challenge the army of Israel. I challenge the king of Israel. And I challenge the God of Israel!
When he heard this, David said, "Who does this giant think he is to defy the army of the living God?" "No one can face him, kid," some of the soldiers were saying. "Whoever kills him, the king will give a great reward." "Then why hasn't anyone gone to fight him?" David asked. "You want to fight that giant? Gentlemen, our champion who will fight Goliath has arrived!" Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the soldiers and became furious. Then he confronted him.
David, what are you doing here? Who did you leave the sheep with in the wilderness?
"Our father sent me to bring you food."
Food? I know you, David. You're a bold and mischievous boy. You just came to watch the battle!
"What have I done now?" David protested. "It was our father who sent me here. And if none of you will fight that giant, then I will."
Are you crazy, David? You're going back home!
Eliab ordered.
Blah, 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 blah.
King Saul heard the rumor that a young man wanted to face the Philistine, and he sent for him. When David arrived, Saul said to him,
Shepherd, I'm glad you're here. Did you bring your harp? This whole thing with the giant has me discouraged. I need you to play for me.
"My king, no one should be discouraged because of this Philistine," said David. "I will fight for you."
Excuse us.
Blah, blah, blah.
Eliab interrupted.
Forgive my younger brother, King Saul. He doesn't know what he's saying.
"My king, I will fight the giant."
Son, how are you going to fight this Philistine by yourself?
Saul replied.
You're just a boy, and he has been a warrior all his life.
David replied, "I take care of my father's flock. When a lion or a bear comes and takes a sheep from the flock, I chase after it and strike it until it lets go. And if the animal attacks me, I grab it by the mane and keep striking it until I kill it. If this servant of yours has killed lions and bears, he can do the same to this uncircumcised Philistine, for he has defied the army of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will also rescue me from the hand of this Philistine."
You speak with such determination, you inspire me to believe, said Saul. Go on, go fight that monster, and may the Lord be with you.
"But my king, we should discuss this first," the commander intervened.
I've made my decision. No other man has volunteered for this. Bring my armor. This shepherd will go to the battlefield wearing the king's armor.
Blah, blah, blah.
And so they did. Saul dressed David in his own clothes, placing a bronze helmet on his head and a breastplate on his chest. David took the sword over the armor and tried to walk. But he couldn't because he wasn't used to it.
Oops.
"I can't walk with all this," he said to Saul. "I can't even move." So he took it all off, took his staff. He went to a river and picked 5 smooth stones, which he placed in his bag. "Shepherd, why aren't you afraid?" Jonathan asked. "Who said I'm not afraid? It's just that my faith is greater."
Blah, 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 blah.
After this, with his sling in hand, David walked toward the battlefield, getting closer step by step to the Philistine. Many mocked him, while others were worried.
I'm tired of all this waiting, said the Philistine. You're all cowards!
Goliath! David shouted. When the Philistine saw someone approaching,
Finally.
he began to advance toward David with his shield bearer in front of him. When he realized it was just a young boy, he said with contempt,
Is this a joke? Is this your champion?
"It's true what they say. King Saul has lost his mind."
Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?
And cursing David in the name of his gods, he added,
Come here.
I'll feed your flesh to the animals!
But David replied, "You come against me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will deliver you into my hands. I will defeat you and cut off your head." "Today I will give the bodies of the Philistines to the birds of the sky and the wild beasts of the earth, so that all the earth will know that there is a God in Israel. And everyone here will know that the Lord does not save with sword or spear, for the battle belongs to the Lord, and he will deliver you into our hands."
I've had enough of you.
As the Philistine moved forward to confront David, he ran quickly toward the battle line to face him.
Blah, 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 blah.
Reaching into his bag, he took out a stone.
This one will kill you.
And swinging it with the sling, he slung it at the Philistine. The stone sank into his forehead. And the giant collapsed. Thus David defeated the giant Goliath.
Oh my gosh!
Then he ran to where the Philistine had fallen, took his sword, and with it finished him off by cutting off his head.
Blah, 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 blah.
When the Philistines saw that their warrior was dead, they fled in terror. Then all the soldiers of Israel and Judah, shouting in triumph, charged after them and pursued them to attack.
Blah, 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 blah.
Saul, for his part, asked Abner, commander of his army,
Abner, what is this young man's name, and who is his father?
"As surely as your majesty lives, I can assure you I do not know." As soon as David returned, after having killed Goliath, and still holding the Philistine's head in his hand, Abner brought him before Saul and asked,
Blah, blah, blah.
What is your name, and whose son are you, boy?
"My name is David, son of Jesse of Bethlehem, at your service." Who would have thought? David was small, yes, but what he had inside here was worth more than 1,000 swords. While everyone saw how small and weak he looked, God saw his confidence and his heart. Now, yes, I can go in peace. After speaking with King Saul, David was taken into his service, and from that moment on, he no longer returned to his father's house. Prince Jonathan and David became very good friends. Jonathan's soul was bound to David's, and he came to love him as himself. That is why they made a covenant of friendship. Jonathan took off his robe, his sword, his bow, and even his belt, and gave them to David.
Blah, 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 blah.
Over time, he placed David in command of all his army. Every assignment he received, David carried out successfully. He won the affection and respect of the people, and also of the king's soldiers. One day, as they returned from battle, a group of women from all the towns of Israel came out singing and dancing to welcome King Saul. To the sound of tambourines and other musical instruments, they sang. Saul killed thousands, but David killed tens of thousands. When Saul heard what they were singing, he grew furious and protested.
Do you hear what they are singing? They give David credit for killing tens of thousands, but me only thousands. Ugh, the only thing left is for them to give him the kingdom and make him king.
And from that moment on, Saul began to look at David with suspicion. The next day, an evil spirit came over Saul and began to torment him right there in his palace.
What did you say?
He was walking around with a spear in his hand. As usual, they called David to play the harp. While David played, Saul thought,
This is my chance. I will pin him to the wall.
and suddenly Saul hurled the spear at him. He tried it twice, but David managed to dodge them. Saul ordered that David be kept away from his presence, and from then on, David no longer played for the king. Saul knew that the Lord had left him, and that now he was with David. That is why he feared David, and since he wanted to get rid of him, he thought,
It's better that he doesn't die by my hand, but by the hand of the Philistines.
so he appointed him commander of 1,000 soldiers, hoping that, being always at the front, he would die in battle. However, David returned victorious from every battle because the Lord was with him. Each time, the people of Israel and Judah loved David more because he led them in battle. David's success made Saul more and more desperate and very angry. One day, they brought David before King Saul, and the king said,
Just as it had been promised to whoever defeated the giant, here I give you Mirab, my eldest daughter. I give her to you as your wife on one condition, that you serve me bravely fighting the battles of Jehovah.
But David replied, My king, but who am I? I come from a poor and humble family. I am nobody to be the king's son-in-law. David did not accept the offer because he did not feel worthy of it. However, when the time came for Saul to marry his daughter Mirab to David, Saul gave her as wife to Adriel of Meholah. Michal, Saul's other daughter, was in love with David. When they told Saul, he was pleased and thought,
Perfect. I can take advantage of this. I will give her to him as a trap, so he will fall into the hands of the Philistines. Now he will be my son-in-law,
said Saul. Then
Blah, blah.
Saul ordered his
Blah, 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 blah.
servants.
Speak with David in private and try to convince him to accept being my son-in-law.
Blah, blah,
And
blah,
so
blah.
they did. When they went
Blah,
to
blah, blah.
David, they said,
Hey, David, we heard that Michal is in love with you, huh?
The king values you greatly, and all the people love you. Accept being his son-in-law and marry his daughter.
What do you say?
Huh? Do you think it is an easy thing to be the king's son-in-law? Replied David. I am nothing more than an insignificant commoner. I have no dowry or offering to give the king. I am a poor man. Then the servants went back to Saul and told him David's reaction.
Blah, 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 blah.
But Saul insisted.
Tell David that the only thing the king wants is revenge on his enemies. And as a price for his daughter, tell him the king is asking for 100 Philistine foreskins.
100 what?
100
Cut!
What happened?
My gosh.
We can't say it like that.
But that's what the Bible says.
Yes, I know, but...
All right.
Everyone, back to your places! Take 2, action!
Tell David that the only thing the king wants is revenge on his enemies. And as a price for his daughter, tell him the king is asking for 100 tokens, or evidence of dead Philistines. Like that.
Blah, 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 blah.
In reality, Saul's intention was for David to die at the hands of the Philistines. Then the servants went and delivered the message to David. He replied, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. I'll do it. So, David took his soldiers and went against the Philistines. And instead of killing 100, he killed 200 Philistines, bringing the tokens of each one.
Blah, 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 blah.
And he brought them before Saul to become the husband of his daughter. Here is what you asked for. Instead of 100, I brought you 200. This will be the dowry to marry your daughter Michal. Saul could not believe what he saw. He was more frustrated and angry than ever. But since he had no choice, he gave his daughter Michal to David to be his wife. Saul realized that, indeed, the Lord was with David, and that his daughter Michal loved him. That is why Saul's fear of David increased, and he became his enemy for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life. And it happened that King Saul summoned his son Jonathan and his servants, and angrily commanded them,
I want David dead!
Jonathan, who loved David so much, went to him and warned him. David, you must hide in a safe place. My father wants to kill you. I will go out to the field with my father and speak to him about you to try to convince him not to do it. When I find out what's going on, I will let you know.
Blah, 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 blah.
David listened and hid himself. In the field, the prince spoke to his father. Father, why do you want to commit this great evil against your servant David? He has done you no harm, said Jonathan. On the contrary, what he has done has been of great benefit to you and to the people. He risked his own life to kill the Philistine, and the Lord gave a great victory to all Israel. You saw it yourself and rejoiced. Why then would you sin against an innocent man and kill David without cause? And King Saul replied,
Yes, all right. As surely as the Lord lives, David shall not die.
Then Jonathan called David, and after telling him everything, he brought him to Saul so that he could serve him as before. Later, once again, war broke out against the Philistines. David went out to fight and defeated them so skillfully that the Philistines had to flee. Later, the evil spirit once again took hold of Saul. He was sitting in the palace with his spear in his hand. As usual, David was called to play the harp. Suddenly, Saul threw the spear. But David dodged it, and the spear stuck into the wall. Quickly, David fled that very night. Then, Saul sent several men to David's house to watch him through the night and kill him the next day. While in David's house, Michal, his wife, warned him. David, if you don't save yourself, if you don't escape tonight, my father will kill you. Immediately, she helped David escape through the window. Then Michal took a statue, put it on the bed, placed a goat hair pillow at its head, and covered it with clothes. When the men Saul had sent arrived to capture David, Michal told them, "Shh! Don't make noise! My husband is sick. You can't do anything because he's in bed. Go away, and don't make noise." The men, looking at the bed from afar, thought it was David. They returned to King Saul and told him what had happened. Saul, very angry, replied,
Bring him to me! What does it matter if he's in bed? Bring him or kill him!
So, the men returned to David's house. But when they arrived and saw that what was in the bed was not David, but a statue, they realized that Michal had deceived them. Then they brought Michal before Saul, and he reproached her.
Michal, my dear daughter, why did you let my enemy escape?
She answered, "Well, Father, he threatened to kill me if I didn't help him escape." Meanwhile, David fled and found Samuel in Ramah. There he told him everything Saul had done to him. Then the two of them went to live in Naioth. When Saul found out where David was, he sent his men to capture him, but they did not succeed. Sometime later, David returned and went to Jonathan. "What have I done?" asked David. "What crime have I committed against your father that he wants to kill me?" "Kill you? No way, David," Jonathan replied. "My father does nothing without telling me, no matter how small it is. Why would he hide something like this from me? That's impossible." "He won't tell you, Jonathan. Your father knows very well that we are very good friends. I'm sure he thought you shouldn't know anything so you wouldn't be upset. But as surely as the Lord and you live, I assure you that he wants me dead." "Tell me what you want me to do for you," Jonathan replied. "Look," said David, "tomorrow is the new moon feast, and I am supposed to sit at the table to eat with the king. I will hide in the field until the day after tomorrow. If your father asks about me, tell him that I insisted you let me go to Bethlehem, my hometown. Because tell him that all my family was gathered there to offer a sacrifice to God. If he answers calmly, then you will know that I am not in danger. But if he gets angry about that, you will know that he has decided to kill me. Here in the presence of the Lord, you have made a covenant with me. I beg you to be loyal to me. If you consider me guilty, you don't have to hand me over to your father. Kill me yourself." "Don't say such a thing, David," Jonathan exclaimed. "If I ever find out my father has decided to harm you, don't you think I would tell you?" "Well, if your father answers you harshly, how will I know? Who will tell me?" David asked. "May Jehovah be witness to this, that by the day after tomorrow at the latest, at this time, I will know what my father intends. If you are not in danger, I will let you know. But if he tries to harm you and I don't warn you so you can escape, May the Lord punish me. Just as God has been kind to me, I ask that you never stop being kind to me and to my family. In this way, Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Because of that affection, he asked David to confirm the covenant under oath. Look what we'll do. When I know my father's answer, go to where you hid last time and stay next to the stone of Ezel. I will pretend to be shooting arrows. I will shoot 3 arrows in that same direction. Then I will tell one of my servants to go and retrieve them. If I say the arrow is closer, that will mean you can come out without any worries. But if I say the arrow is farther away, that will mean Jehovah wants you to leave and escape. And that's what they did. David hid in the field, while Jonathan went to find out his father's plans. On the day of the new moon feast, the king sat at the table to eat. Jonathan sat opposite him, while the commander, Abner, sat next to Saul. David's seat was empty. That day, Saul said nothing, but thought.
Something must have happened to David that he didn't come to eat. Surely he is not purified. Yes, maybe that's it.
On the second day of the new moon feast, they sat down again to eat, but David's seat was empty again. Saul, noticing this, asked Jonathan,
Jonathan, do you know where the son of Jesse is? He hasn't come to eat yesterday or today.
"Oh, Father, David asked me to give him permission to go to Bethlehem, his town. He told me to let him go to his family to offer a sacrifice to God." Saul, when he heard this, he got furious with Jonathan.
You son of a wicked woman! Do you think I don't know you're friends with David? Tell me where David is! David is condemned to die!
But what sin has he committed? Why must he die? Jonathan protested.
What part don't you understand that if he stays alive on this earth, you will never be king? So go find him and bring him to me!
But what wrong has David done to deserve death? Jonathan insisted. Because of that answer, Saul, full of rage, threw his spear to strike him.
Oh my gosh.
At that moment, Jonathan was convinced that his father was determined to kill David. Furious, Jonathan got up and left, not wanting to take part in the meal. The next morning, Jonathan went out to the field to practice with arrows. One of his younger servants was with him. Jonathan said to him, "Get ready to find the arrows I'm going to shoot." The servant ran ahead, and Jonathan shot an arrow that went past him. When the servant got near the place where the arrow had fallen, Jonathan shouted, "Farther! The arrow is beyond you! Hurry up! Don't stop!" And so Jonathan kept shouting at him. This was the signal. He did it without the servant suspecting anything. Only Jonathan and David knew what it was about. When the servant finally picked up the arrow and brought it back, Jonathan gave him his weapons and asked him to return to the city. As soon as the servant left, David came out of his hiding place. He bowed down 3 times, face to the ground. And then they embraced and cried together. But David wept even more because they both knew he was in great danger because Saul wanted to kill him. "You can go in peace, my brother," Jonathan said to David. "Jehovah is between us as a witness of the covenant we have made." And so David went on his way, and Jonathan returned to the city. My First Bible presents David, My First Bible presents David. 1 second, please. What do you mean you can't find the video? Didn't you make a copy?
I thought you did.
What are we gonna do now? There's no time left. Let's improvise with what we have. Find cardboard and colors. No one will know the difference. Come on, come on, come on! All right, narrator, begin. My First Bible presents David forgives Saul. Days later, David, fleeing from Saul, arrived at the city of Nob, accompanied by a few men. There, he met a priest named Ahimelech, who, seeing him almost alone, was surprised and asked him,
Why have you come alone? Where are the men who were with you?
I came for an order, the king, said David. But it's a secret matter. No one must know. But tell me, do you have food for us? We're starving.
Well, I don't have any common bread. I only have the consecrated bread that we took from the tabernacle.
Give it to me, David replied. After he gave him the bread, David asked Ahimelech, by any chance, do you have a spear or a sword here? The king's mission was so urgent that I forgot my sword. Don't you have any weapon?
I only have the sword of the Philistine Goliath, the one you killed. It's wrapped in a cloth. You can take it if you want.
That's perfect. Give it to me, David said. In that place, there was a man named Doeg, an Edomite, chief of Saul's shepherds. And by coincidence, he had heard everything David and Ahimelech had said. Later that same day, David, fleeing from Saul, went to Gath, land of the Philistines. While he was there, the king's officers in Gath saw him and whispered among themselves.
Isn't that David? Isn't he the one they sang about? Saul has slain his thousands, but David his tens of thousands?
We believe it's him. Let's take him to King Achish. When David realized this, he became afraid of Achish, the king of Gath. So he pretended to be insane in public and began acting like a madman, scribbling on the doors and letting his saliva run down his beard. When they brought him before King Achish, he said,
Why did you bring this madman to me? He's insane! Why would I want a madman? I already have enough with you all! Get him out of my palace!
So David left that place and fled to the cave of Adullam. When his brothers and all his father's household heard of it, they went down to meet him. Many others also joined him, those in distress, in debt, or discontented. Thus, a group of 400 men gathered, led by David. Then he went to Mizpah in Moab. And he said to the king of that land, Please, let my parents stay here with you until I know what God wants for me. The king of Moab replied,
All right.
And David's parents stayed there, while he stayed in a safe shelter. But a prophet named Gad said to him, Do not stay in this place. Go back to the land of Judah. So David left Moab and arrived at the forest of Hereth. Meanwhile, Saul was sitting under a tamarisk tree on the hill at Gibeah. He had his spear in his hand, and all his officers stood around him. And he said,
All right. Listen up, man of Benjamin. Tell me something. Do you think the son of Jesse will give you fields and vineyards? Will he make you commanders in his army? Don't be fooled! Because now I realize you're all conspiring against me. No one tells me anything. No one informs me that my own son Jonathan has become friends with the son of Jesse. Tell me, is there not one of you who stands with your king? No one takes my side.
Doeg, the Edomite who was among Saul's officers, said, I saw David in Nob with the priest Ahimelech. There, the priest gave him bread and even handed him the sword of Goliath the Philistine.
What?
Immediately, Saul sent for the priest Ahimelech and for all his relatives who were priests in Nob. When they arrived, the king said,
Ahimelech, son of Ahitub? Yes, my lord,
Ahimelech replied.
Now it turns out that you and the son of Jesse conspire against me.
Saul accused.
No, my lord. What happened was, you gave him bread and Goliath's sword, and you even inquired of God for him. My lord, I knew nothing of any conspiracy. I know that of all your servants, O king, David, your son-in-law, is the most loyal and respected in your palace. This is not the first time I've inquired of God for him. Let not the king accuse me, nor my family, for your servant knows absolutely nothing about this matter, my lord.
Saul, very angry, replied,
Kill him! Kill all the priests! They've all sided with David. They knew he was fleeing from me, and yet they didn't tell me!
But Saul's officers, when they heard this, refused. They didn't dare raise their hands against the Lord's priests. Then Saul ordered Doeg.
You, Doeg! You kill them!
Then Doeg, the Edomite, turned on them and killed them. He then went to Nob, the town of the priests, and struck down with the sword all their families and animals.
Oh my gosh.
However, a son of Ahimelech named Abiathar escaped and took the priestly ephod with him. Abiathar fled until he found David. He told him that Saul had killed the Lord's priests. And David replied, I am responsible for the death of your relatives. But don't be afraid. Stay with me. You'll be safe here. The one who wants to kill you also seeks to destroy me. Later on, the Philistines attacked a city called Keilah. David wanted to help that city, so he asked God if he should fight or not. God confirmed that he should go, and David, with his men, attacked the Philistines and rescued the city's inhabitants. After this, David sensed that the people of Keilah might hand him over to Saul. So he asked the Lord, will the people of Keilah hand me over to Saul? And the Lord answered yes. So David left that place with all his men and went to the desert of Ziph. Jonathan, son of Saul, went to see David and encouraged him to keep trusting God. Don't be afraid. God is with you. You will be king of Israel, and I will be second in command. Even my father knows this. Then the two renewed their covenant of friendship before the Lord, promising to protect each other. Afterward, Jonathan returned home, and David stayed there. Sometime later, Saul found out where David was and went after him with a large army. When David heard of it, he fled with his men. But the king was already very close to him. Saul advanced on one side of the mountain, while David went along the other side, trying to escape as fast as he could with his men. They were just about to catch him when suddenly a messenger arrived and said to Saul, My king, hurry! Philistines are attacking the land! So he stopped chasing David and went back to fight the Philistines. Whew, I'm safe. David left that place. He left and hid in the desert of En-Gedi. Good news, guys! We recovered the last part of the video!
Finally, it's about time.
Quick, play it!
Later on, Saul was told where David was and went back to chase him with an army of 3,000 men from all Israel. They searched for him among the cliffs where the wild goats lived. Along the way, Saul came to a sheepfold. There was a cave in that place.
Oh, I shouldn't have eaten that.
Saul went into the cave to poop?
Oh, my stomach!
But it so happened that in the back of that same cave, David and some of his men were hiding. And they said to him, "Hey, this is the moment! Today the Lord's promise is fulfilled when he said he would deliver your enemy into your hands so you could do with him as you wish."
Kill him, David, go on!
David got up and quietly approached Saul and cut off the edge of his robe. But immediately he felt troubled in his heart, regretting what he had done. He returned to his men and said, "No, I cannot raise my hand against him. May the Lord keep me from doing any harm to the king. I will not kill the Lord's anointed. You won't either." So David restrained his men and did not let them attack Saul. When Saul left the cave to continue on his way, David followed and shouted, "Your Majesty, my Lord!" Saul turned around and saw David bowing with his face to the ground. David said to him, "Why do you listen to those who say that I want to harm you? Today, in this very cave, the Lord delivered you into my hands, but I didn't kill you. Even my men urged me to do it, but I told them I would not touch the Lord's anointed. My father, look closely at what I have in my hand. It's a piece of your robe that I cut off." Saul realized that indeed a piece of his robe was missing, and that it was in David's hands. "I had the chance, but I did nothing to you. Please, acknowledge that I'm not trying to harm you, much less betray you. However, you chase me to take my life for no reason. May the Lord judge between us and defend me, but my hand will never be raised against you." When David finished speaking,
David, my son, is that really your voice?
cried Saul, and lifting his voice, Saul began to weep.
You have acted better than I have. You've returned good for evil. Today you've shown how kind you've been to me. The Lord put me in your hands, and you didn't kill me. Who finds his enemy and lets him go unharmed? May the Lord reward you for your kindness today. Now I know that the kingdom of Israel will be better under your reign. Just promise me one thing, that you will care for my family and not harm them.
David promised he would, and the king said,
You can rest easy, my son. I won't pursue you anymore.
And so King Saul returned to his palace, while David and his men went back to their refuge. The inhabitants of Ziph went to Gibeah and said to Saul, "My king, we saw David hiding on the hill of Hakilah, facing the desert." Saul had promised not to pursue David, and he said,
Let's go after him.
and he set out with an army of 3,000 men of Israel and went down to the desert of Ziph in search of David. They camped on the hill of Hakilah, which is east of the desert by the road. David, who was living in the desert, realized that Saul was pursuing him again. So he sent out some spies to find out where Saul was. When the spies returned, they informed him of Saul's location.
I told you they were good.
Then he went to Saul's camp and observed the place. Then David asked Ahimelech and Abishai, son of Zeruiah, David's nephew, "Who will go down with me to Saul's camp?" "I'll go with you," Abishai replied. "Let's go." So, that same night, David and Abishai entered the camp quietly and saw Saul asleep in the center, with his spear stuck in the ground beside his head. Abner and the army were lying around him, fast asleep. "This is the perfect opportunity," Abishai said to David. "God has delivered your enemy into your hands. Let me finish him off. With one strike, I will take his spear and pin him to the ground. Like this. Boom! Let me do it." Shh, no, calm down. You will not kill him," David exclaimed. "You shall not raise your hand against the Lord's anointed. As surely as the Lord lives, the Lord himself will strike him, or his time will come and he will die, or he will fall in battle. But as for me, may God forbid that I should raise my hand against the Lord's anointed. We will only take this spear and the jug of water that is by his head, and then we will leave this place." David quietly took the spear and the jug of water that were near Saul. And the two of them left without making a sound. No one saw them or noticed, because the Lord had put them into a deep sleep. David crossed over to the other side and stopped on the top of a mountain at a great distance from them. Then he called out to Abner, Saul's commander. "Abner! Abner! Can you hear me?" When he heard his name being called, he answered,
What? Who is shouting?
"Hey, Abner! Aren't you supposed to be the bravest man among the Israelites? How could you fail to protect your king? I tell you, you have failed. Someone could have come in and killed him."
What are you saying?
Abner replied with concern. "What you have done is unforgivable. As surely as the Lord lives, you deserve to die, because you did not protect your king, the Lord's anointed. Now tell me, where is the king's spear, and where is the jug of water that was by his head?" When King Saul recognized David's voice, he came out of his camp and said,
David? My son! Is that really you speaking?
"Yes, it is I, my lord and king," David replied. "Why does my lord pursue his servant? What have I done? What crime have I committed?" Saul exclaimed,
I have sinned! I have sinned, my son! Forgive me, David. Come back with me. I will no longer harm you.
"Yeah, sure." "Your Majesty," David replied, "here is your spear and your jug. Send one of your servants to retrieve them. May the Lord reward each one according to his righteousness and faithfulness, for today, once again, he placed you in my hands. But I did not dare to lay a hand on the Lord's anointed. As I valued your life, may the Lord value my life and deliver me from all distress."
Blessed are you, David,
Saul replied.
You will do great things, and you will surely triumph.
So, after handing over the spear and the jug, David went on his way. And Saul returned to his palace. After this, David thought, If we keep going like this, one of these days I will end up dead at Saul's hands. The best thing to do is to go up to the land of the Philistines. Then Saul will give up searching for me throughout the territory of Israel, and I will escape from his hand. So David, accompanied by his 600 men, set out and went to live among the Philistines in the land of Gath, where King Achish ruled. Both David and his men settled there. Each man had brought his family, and David lived with his 2 wives, Ahinoam and Abigail, the widow of Nabal. King Achish received David, and David said to him, "If I have truly found favor in your eyes, please grant me some town in the countryside, so that I may live there." King Achish agreed. "You may live in the village of Ziklag." By the way, haven't I seen you before? Why do you bring this madman to me? He's insane! Get him out of my palace! No. From that day on, David and his men lived in Philistine territory for a year and 4 months. During that time, they used to go out on campaigns and fought against enemies of Israel, such as the Amalekites. David, together with his men, won the battles and returned with great plunder. When the king was asked, "Which region did you attack today?" David answered in such a way that Achish thought that they were attacking the Israelites. The southern region of Judah. King Achish said to himself, "David is completely on my side and is making himself detestable to the Israelites, his own people. He will surely serve me forever." Sometime later, the Philistines gathered their troops to go to war. Therefore, Achish said to David, "I want you to know that you and your men will go out with me to war. From now on, I appoint you as my bodyguard." "All right," David replied. "You will see what this servant of yours is capable of. Which region will we attack?" "We will attack the Israelites, your people!" "Oh no!" Sometime after Samuel died and was buried in Ramah, the Philistines gathered to declare war on Israel and camped at Shunem. Meanwhile, King Saul gathered the Israelites and camped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the enormous Philistine army, he became very afraid. He was deeply worried. He wanted to consult God because he did not know what to do. But God did not answer him, either in dreams, nor through the priests, nor through the prophets.
This is not possible! God cannot do this to me! We cannot go to war without his protection. So Saul had a terrible idea.
"My lord, we do not know what to do."
"Find me a witch," Saul ordered, "so I can go consult her." "But my lord, this is forbidden," said Abner. "Consulting a witch is an abomination to the Lord."
Previously, Saul had expelled from Israel all diviners, mediums, and witches, since those practices were against God's laws.
It is decided. Find a witch capable of summoning the spirit of someone who has died.
I know where there is one, my lord, one of his men replied. We can find her in the village of Endor. Then Saul disguised himself with different clothes and dressed like an ordinary man so he would not be recognized.
Blah, 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 blah.
Sometimes a king must take drastic measures. No one must know that the king of Israel is going to consult a witch.
Accompanied by 2 men, they left at night to search for the medium. Upon arriving, it's here, I'm sure.
This place gives me the chills.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Who are you? And what do you want?
Are you the witch?
Saul asked.
I want you to summon a spirit. Make the one I name appear.
And who told you that I do such things? Don't you know that this is forbidden in Israel? The woman replied. Saul has expelled from the country all diviners and mediums. You're trying to set a trap for me, aren't you?
No. As surely as the Lord lives, I assure you that no one will punish you for this.
Saul replied.
Just bring me the one I ask for.
Whom do you want me to bring?
Bring me the prophet Samuel.
Okay.
Then the woman began her ritual.
Marín de dos pingüinos.
And suddenly,
She stepped back in terror when she saw Samuel. Did it work?
what happened? Have you seen anything?
And staring fixedly at Saul, she exclaimed, You are Saul! This is a trap to kill me, she cried. Why have you deceived me?
Calm down, you do not need to be afraid, Saul said. Nothing will happen to you. Tell me what you have seen. What do you see?
I see a being coming up out of the earth.
And what is he like? What does he look like?
He is an old man coming up wrapped in a robe. When Saul realized that it was Samuel, he bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. And Samuel said to Saul, What do you want, Saul? Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?
Samuel,
Saul whispered in fear. What's happening? Do you see anything? One of his servants asked.
No. I am deeply distressed, Saul replied. The Philistines are attacking me, and God has abandoned me. He no longer answers me, either in dreams or through the prophets. That is why I decided to call you. Please, tell me what I must do.
Why do you ask me? Samuel replied. If the Lord has turned away from you,
I just need to know.
The Lord has fulfilled what he foretold through me. He has taken the kingdom out of your hands and has given it to David. Everything you are going through is the consequence of your actions, Saul.
You did not obey the Lord when he gave you the command against the Amalekites.
Blah, blah, blah.
You acted out of selfish ambition and pride and did not fulfill his will. Therefore, he has condemned you today. The Lord will deliver you and Israel into the hands of the Philistines.
No, please!
Tomorrow, you and your sons will be with me, and the camp of Israel will fall into the hands of the Philistines. Instantly, Saul collapsed to the ground, filled with fear because of everything Samuel had said. "King Saul, what happened?" one of his servants asked.
God has abandoned me! Tomorrow the Philistines will win the battle!
"You must eat something, my king. You have not eaten anything all day." Seeing him so afraid, the woman approached and said, "Allow me to bring you some food to eat. Then you may recover and continue your journey." But Saul refused to eat.
Nothing matters to me anymore! I don't want anything!
Saul said in anguish.
Blah, blah, blah.
However, his servants and the woman urged him until he finally agreed.
Blah, blah.
Then he got up from the ground and sat on the bed. The woman cooked a fattened calf she had slaughtered and also prepared unleavened bread. That same night, she served Saul and his servants. After eating, they got up and returned in silence. With this terrible news, and after the bad decision he had made by consulting a medium, Saul knew that everything was lost. He understood that God would not change his mind, because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. The Philistines declared war on Israel and gathered their troops at Aphek. The Philistine chiefs organized the army in groups of hundreds and thousands of soldiers. At the rear marched King Achish together with David and his men. "David, what will we do?" one of his men whispered. "We cannot attack our own people." "When that moment comes, we will see what to do." When the Philistine chiefs saw David and his men at the rear of the king's army, they asked,
Huh? And these men? What are these Hebrews doing here?
King Achish answered,
Don't you realize that this is David who served Saul, the king of Israel? He's an excellent warrior.
But the Philistine commander said,
But why is David our enemy in our army?
"Send him away," the commanders demanded. "Make him go back to the place you gave him."
He has been with me for more than a year, Achish said, and from the first day I have seen nothing that would make me distrust him.
King Achish, do not let him go with us into battle. In the middle of the fight, he could turn against us. Just think, what better gift could he bring Saul than our heads? We do not want him here. Let him leave.
After this, Achish went to David, and he said to him,
The Philistine chiefs do not want you to be with us. They do not want you to go into battle. So with my best wishes, go back home.
"But why? What have I done?" David protested. "From the first day I have been with you, I have never failed you. Why won't they let me fight?"
You have done nothing wrong, David, Achish replied. You are an honorable man, and I would like you to come with me. However, the chiefs have decided that you should not go into battle with us. So, you and your men get up early and return home.
So the next day, David and his men returned to the land of the Philistines.
Whew, that was a close one.
For their part, the Philistines advanced to face the Israelites.
On the third day, David and his men arrived at Ziklag, the city that King Achish had given him. But when they arrived, they found something terrible.
Blah, blah.
The city was in flames, destroyed and looted. The Amalekites had invaded the place, and they had taken the women captive and everyone who was there. David and his men, seeing everything destroyed and realizing that they had taken their wives, sons, and daughters, all began to cry and wail until they had no strength left.
No, this can't be!
They had also taken David's 2 wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail, the widow of Nabal. Even some men were talking about stoning him.
This is your fault, David. We should not have gone with you. Yes!
Despite everything, David took courage and put his trust in Jehovah, his God, and he said to Abiathar the priest, "Bring me the ephod." As soon as Abiathar brought the ephod, David consulted the Lord. "Should I pursue the band of raiders? Will I catch up with them?"
Yes, you will catch up with them.
The Lord answered.
You will catch up with them and rescue the captives.
Immediately, David set out with his 600 men as far as the Besor ravine. There, some stayed behind, about 200 men who were too tired to cross the ravine. So, David continued the pursuit with the remaining 400 men. On the way, David's men found an Egyptian lying in the field, almost without strength, and they took him to David. They gave him food and drink because he had gone 3 days without eating anything. As soon as the Egyptian ate, he regained his strength. "Where do you come from?" David asked. "Who do you belong to?"
I am Egyptian.
He answered.
I am the slave of an Amalekite. 3 days ago I became sick, and my master abandoned me on the road. We had invaded Ziklag and had caused destruction in other cities.
"Where are those raiders? Will you guide us to where that band is?" David said.
I will guide you. But swear to me that you will not kill me or hand me over to my master, he pleaded. On that condition, I will take you to where they are.
All right. So, the Egyptian guided him to where the Amalekites were, and when they arrived, they found them celebrating all over the field. They were eating, drinking, and celebrating the great plunder they had taken from the territory of the Philistines and Judah. At dawn, David and his men attacked them and fought them until the evening of the next day. The only ones who managed to escape were 400 young men who fled on their camels. David was able to recover everything the Amalekites had stolen, and when they began to look for their own people, they realized that no one was missing. Their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone was safe. David also recovered his 2 wives. grateful to the Lord, they all returned victorious and happy to the Besor ravine, where the 200 men who were too tired had stayed behind. They went out to meet David and his people, and David, for his part, came near to greet them. But among those who accompanied David, there were wicked and evil men who complained,
Hey, they did not fight against the Amalekites. They just stayed behind doing nothing. So none of the plunder belongs to them. Let them take their women and children and leave.
No, do not do that, my brothers, David answered. This victory comes from God. He was the one who put into our hands that band of raiders who is going to agree with you. Put your hand down. In this plunder, we all share. After this, David and his people returned to Ziklag. And he sent part of the plunder to his friends who were leaders of Judah, with a message that read, "Here is a gift from the plunder that we rescued from the enemies of the Lord."
Blah, blah.
Meanwhile, at Gilboa, the battle of the Philistines against Israel had begun. The Philistines kept advancing with greater force, and Israel began to retreat. Chaos took over the field. Many soldiers fled, and many fell in battle. That day, those words were being fulfilled that Saul had heard. The Philistines pursued King Saul, but they caught up with and killed his sons, Abinadab, Malchishua, and also Jonathan, Saul's eldest son, David's best friend.
No! It cannot be!
The fighting became more intense, and the enemy archers fixed their eyes on Saul. The arrows flew through the air, and one of them struck him. Saul fell, gravely wounded, breathing with difficulty. Seeing that there was no escape, very weakly, he said to his armor-bearer,
Draw your sword and kill me! Do not let these uncircumcised men come and kill me and mock me!
No, I cannot do it, my king.
But his armor-bearer was so frightened that he could not do it. His hands trembled, and he could not obey. Seeing that his armor-bearer did not act, Saul understood that his end had come. Without saying anything more, he took his sword and fell on it, and he died.
King Saul?
When the armor-bearer saw that Saul had died, he also did the same and threw himself on his own sword and died alongside his king.
Oh my gosh!
That was the tragic end of Saul's reign. The Philistines displayed in their city the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons like a trophy. But some brave men from Jabesh Gilead recovered the bodies, gave them burial, and mourned for him. Despite his tragic end, Saul was the first king of Israel, chosen by God and by the people. He began as a humble man. But over time, pride and his bad decisions led him little by little to his downfall. Subscribe, comment, leave us a like, and follow us on our social media. Hey! Like in every video, it's time to say hi to our friends who commented on our posts. If you want a shout out in the next video, follow us and comment on our latest post on social media, Instagram and YouTube. But before we start, huge thanks to all our oh my gosh members! Alright, today's shout outs go to Wisa Nabiko, and Eliza Belinda 789, Ellen Madamombe NT1RM, I Have Ascended, Francis Hernandez, Anastasia W3P5R, Thani DeDale from New York, King Abraham, Queen Noel, Prince Louis, Prince Osias, Princess Leora, and Princess Ciela, Koraya Doraya Fan Cool, Evelyn Blanton, from Jordan and Genesis from USA, Janika, Jerry, and Kathy Ann, Louis Cabanze 4922, Watermelon Sugar E3D, from Amara, Noel, and Jeliza Simmons, Vic and Rusin, Eliana, Nicole, Wylet About My Loves, Miriam, Katie Webb Show, Austin, Paris, Abigail, Eliza, and Olivia from the UK. Thank you very much for all your great support.